Greetings, brothers and sisters. I'm Professor Spira, and today I'd like to share a video with you guys that was produced by Mucusless Diet practitioner Tobin Childs, and he's a lyricist and hip hop cat, and he been putting up a few videos where he's just kind of doing like off the head joints, improvised rapping, or sometimes he might compose some of the things. This one sounds like he created a nice little backup track, and and he raps about the Mucusless Diet Healing System. And one of the things that I would like to emphasize more now that the community's coming together, and what we need now is we need the artist to come forward and make art that is inspired by this lifestyle, that's inspired by the Mucusless diet. That's how this thing really becomes solid. That's how the community comes together. That's how we build something. It's just not about the information all the time, and that's a big part of how I can contribute and how a lot of us contribute. We have to circulate the information, but there's a lot of ways to circulate this information. So you can talk in lecture format, but you can also create songs, and if you're a musician, you can dedicate songs to different, the great Charles Lloyd back in the 70s dedicated a song to Arnold Ehret on one of his albums. We've dedicated a lot of songs to Arnold Ehret, have a lot of messages in the music that we make. I'm a jazz musician, me and Brother Air. But then now we're starting to see cats that's coming up that are painters, and they're painting things that are inspired with the Mucusless diet. And here you can see this one created by Israel, a Mucusless diet practitioner, and raise it like it's your flag. And that was actually that was inspired through something that I had put out, which I put together a couple mucus-free raps years ago, and one called That Mucus, and it had that line in there, which basically said, raise it high like it's your flag, clean, get your colon nice and clean, very clean, Mr. Clean up that fine French fried cuisine, and now you can see it on the the Dr. Puppet video, but anyway, without further ado, I want to share a little bit of this with you. Part of this is mucus-free arts movement. It's mucusless arts movement. This is time. It's time to create. Art is just so powerful. People can't. It's hard to argue with art. When because it's subjective, and people can be bothered by it, and people, you can argue about it, but at the end of the day, it's not like, say, a peer-reviewed study in a academic journal. If you're trying to do like a science experiment or something like that, it's a whole different aspect of humanity and level of consciousness, in a whole different way to understand and learn. And most of us interact with art and artists, and enjoy the fruits of artistry every day, but don't necessarily really give credit to the artist, or really think about it deeply, and really understand that a lot of this beauty and a lot of these things that are in our environments that we like, that we enjoy, a lot of the musics and a lot of these things, it stems from artistry. And the foundation of artistry for me is an intensely high level of spiritual awareness and understanding and openness. To be you have to, as an artist, you have to work out obstructions. When you practice, you are essentially meditating. really great artist or musician, when they are working on their craft, they are removing obstructions through a meditative process. I've past several days, I've been practicing my trombone for about 10 hours a day. Much of that time, I mean, it's a very meditative process where, I'm in this zone working out things physically to get to this music that's in my head, so that this music that's inside of me can flow freely. If I don't have the physical part together, this music and these ideas are just stuck inside of me. But what happens and a lot of people have music inside them, but they might not be disciplined enough to put in the practice, or they might not be compelled enough to do what it would take to get that music out of them. And that's going to be the separation between the artist and somebody that just that loves music, that may have some, undeveloped talent, and I'm just an advocate for people to get into the arts, because it can open up areas of consciousness that I could get on here and talk all kinds of deep things and talk, and just say stuff that blows people's minds and all that. But I try to keep it on the basics and focus on the transition and the elements. But what I like to see people do is follow the path. Like, I'll point a path out, but you gotta take it on yourself to follow it. And so that's I got a lot to say on this subject. This is something I want to really get into, because I think this is going to be a piece that will set our community apart. Because I think in order to practice the Mucusless Diet Healing System, you have to have the mind and the spirit of an artist. That's my opinion. A lot of the people that are and that doesn't mean that there can be scientists. I've not seen a whole lot of them, the real hardcore scientists, just because there's a certain dogma that's developed in scientific circles and communities, and a kind of real rigid approach. And this is not universal, but the ones that people I've met, there's a certain rigidness and a narrow-mindedness that prevents them from, opening up to larger questions, things that can't necessarily be confirmed by science, at least not right now. They get into things where science starts to provide explanations for certain phenomena that 20, 30 years ago would have just seemed like it was totally in the spiritual realm, and then now they can explain it. But overall, there's a real rigid, kind of strict, those type of sciences I found tend to be the exception. There's a real narrowness there. But with artistry, and that's why I always say Mucusless Diet is an art form. Think about this as an art. When you go in to learn an instrument, when you go to learn how to play the piano, they will give you exercises, give you things to do, and give you little philosophies of practice and performance that kind of gives you the tools to then work on yourself, and you ultimately have to figure out how to do it and what the process means to you. It's not a science. You can have method books that try to promote artistry as a science, but that's just the way it's packaged. Each individual person has to take, even each person that uses the same method book, they're not going to do the exact same thing. One person might have to practice page number 7 for 5 hours. Another person might be able to sight read it the first time that they look at it, because that's just where their skill level is. If it was scientific, then each person would go through a method book and have to, and they would play every note exactly the same way with the same inflection, the same amount of times. And there would be some kind of prescription, like you go to a doctor and they say, well, take 2 of these, and you could give a prescription to somebody learning how to play an instrument. Say, well, practice this exactly 5 times and you will have it. Like, no, practice this until you get it. You might have to practice it 20 times. You might have to practice it twice until you're able to perform it on the level that that the artist community and the wider community deems as acceptable. So anyway, without getting any deeper into that, because I'm going to be talking about this more in the future, I want to share this video with you. This is something that Tobin is out here just spreading some wisdom through the art of rap. So take it away, Tobin.
Nature, very beautiful thing, so peaceful, so green. But now I'm stuck. Some mucus forming foods. Mucus and pus, I'm stuck to you. Ever since I was a fetus in the mother's womb. Now I must reverse the harm I've been subjected to. I don't blame you, mama, for you know not what you chew. It gets harder to pass a bowel with these poops, clogging up the colon. Tobin's trying to move him through with veggies and juicy fruits. But now I'm an addict getting high on that junky food. Don't matter what your body type is, I'm thin as a twig, yet I'm a glutton, dude. Takes more than a long fast, we got work to do. Mucus stuck in our intestines like super glue. I ain't bullshitting you, that's why the message I spread is so critical. I once had to stop eating, consume the truth, and put myself back together again. Just like you. I love it, I swear I do. I'm stuck to you, it's so true. And you're so gluey. But I love it, I swear. But change first has to start with yourself. Take responsibility, don't blame anyone else. Realize that, you start to rebel. A real revolutionary takes charge of their health. I try not to be hard on myself. No, we've inherited a mess. I play the cards that are dealt. We living in a modern day hell. As a youth I was raised on Carl's Jr. Taco Bell. So I got more waste to expel, and a lot more days that I'll fail. That's a long walk towards liberation. There's times of failure, trial and error, eliminations. But I gotta change this cycle for myself in this generation. One more reason to stay motivated. Every slip back I get frustrated that I'm just like glue. I love it, I swear I do. I'm stuck, it's so true. And you're so gluey. It's quite amazing how powerful this addiction really is. Withdrawal symptoms I'm facing. As I get weaker, I surrender, I feel myself regenerating. Dealing with old cravings, poisons in my bloodstream recirculating. I turn into a straight fiend, like a crackhead binging out. I do the same thing. Get a big bag of chips and some baked beans. Devour that shit till my stomach's achy. Intoxicated, constipated. Lay down, do an enema, concentrated. I need a lot more patience to let nature perform operation. I shouldn't feel bad when I relapse. Say I don't need that mucus that I'm so to you. I love it, I love it, I swear I do. imaginary dream. I feel like it's a beautiful thing. Cause now I'm finally freeing up my colon and getting free. Physiologically liberated. That's where it's at. All my soldiers, I salute, that are on this path to getting clean. You know what I mean? It's a long struggle. Woo!
Read the book that has inspired thousands of brothers and sisters to take their health into their own hands. Professor Arnold Ehret's Mucus-less Diet Healing System, annotated, revised, and edited by Professor Spira. Visit www.mucus-free-life.com/revised-mucusless-diet to get your copy today while supplies last. Tell them Dr. Puppet sent you. Yeah.